Good morning and welcome to A Dose of Sunshine. I'm Sami Vecchiolla, your host and local realtor. I'm here to provide you with a dose of positivity and introduce you to one of my friends who has positively impacted my life. Our special guest today is Davin Sessa from Truvium Financial Group. He's a rising entrepreneur and he is also one of the most amazing people that I know. He impacts the lives of others through martial arts, as well as he's one of my buddies from Toastmasters. So I know you've heard me talk a lot about Toastmasters. It's a wonderful organization, and I really think that all of you should check it out. But let me introduce you to my really good friend, Davin Sessa. Come on in, Davin.
I wasn't filming that.
Welcome, and can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Davin Sessa. I'm honored to be on this wonderful show, The Dose of Sunshine. Sammy's always bringing sunshine everywhere, and I am so honored to really be in her presence.
Oh, you're so sweet. So tell us about yourself. What do you do? How do you impact the lives of others? Why are you so special?
I mean, honestly, I don't think I am very special, but I appreciate that. So, I do my best to help others. I think a lot of people want to help others. People don't always know how to. I feel that I have been blessed with a couple of different platforms to help people through. One has always been, some of the things have been things that I've grown up in. So I grew up in two activities, basically. I did soccer and martial arts growing up, did them for my entire life, did them through college and even post-college. And those have served as nice platforms for me actually to help others through, whether it's, coaching teams or coaching individuals. I've kind of done that in both sectors. In fact, after I graduated college, I graduated with a business degree. I didn't really know what I was going to do after college. I mean, that's a tough question. What do you want to do for the rest of your life?
Right.
I don't know, 20 years old. And I ended up teaching martial arts for the first 2 years full time after I graduated college. It was fun. It was enjoyable. It was a passion of mine. I definitely feel that I made an impact on the students that I was working with and also the business that I was working in. I grew that business pretty well. And then after about 2 years, I made a shift in my career path and entered the financial services industry. That had been a really big challenge because, as you can imagine, being 24 years old, how many people want to talk to a 24-year-old about their money and planning? Like, how much experience do you have, 24-year-old kid? And, the reality was I didn't have a lot of experience in that, but I've seen so many people come and go out of that financial service industry because it's hard to build your own book of business, especially at that young of an age. But thankfully, 12 years later, I'm still here, still going strong. And this whole pandemic time has shined a lot of light on the service that I provide to people. And so I really do believe that I'm able to inject a lot of positivity on people through my financial services practice. And also, believe it or not, I didn't leave the martial arts industry completely. So I'm still involved in that. And I believe I get to impact a lot of people through that. And interestingly, I feel that the impacts are kind of similar, though the platforms are somewhat different, right? So you look at finances is one thing. You look at martial arts as another thing. You probably think that they don't even relate, right?
Well, they kind of do.
How do they relate?
So I think that they are part of safety for yourself. Like martial arts is you learn respect and discipline and creating that inner peace with yourself in martial arts, as well as learning some awesome tactics for safety. But financially, like having the financial sphere, like being safe in being confident that you're going to be able to survive life and pay for it.
Right. And in all reality, right? Like you see commercials that life's perfect and everything always works out and it's puppy dogs and rainbows all the time, but life is not a fairy tale. We're not living in a fairy tale these days, right? This pandemic is crazy. But you're right. You hit upon a few of the big factors. There's an awareness factor that we need. We teach that to kids in the martial arts. and teach it to adults in their financial world.
Yep.
Life happens, and so things are crazy, especially once people have kids and they're juggling different businesses. It's hard to pay attention, and so awareness is a huge factor, and then learning some discipline, which you said, which is awesome. We struggle in America with that word. We don't like to hear the word no. No's okay at times, right? I
That's
know
like
you
my
don't like to hear the
favorite
word
word.
no, Sammy.
I know. I don't accept the word no. You have to
Right?
like dance around it around me. My mom learned like how to do that. She used to say, "Well, what do you think?" And then I would have to answer my own question, which was awful.
Good tactic, Mom. Right? And and then we struggle also with focus. And so that happens in multiple areas of life. Could be fitness, could be nutrition, could be financial. And so I definitely feel like I help people to develop some focus. And once you develop good focus, you start to gain a little bit more confidence when you see results. And once you gain more confidence, you end up with living a little more peaceful, which you mentioned before too. So kind of in both of those spheres, I feel that they serve as good platforms. They're challenges at times for sure, but I feel that I'm blessed to have a bit of talent there, and I'm doing my best to continuously grow to continue and help people through those avenues.
We have some people watching, and Amber Joe says absolutely.
Ooh,
Karen
cool.
says two rock stars, and my mom says hi, Sammy. But you know my mom too.
Cool, cool,
So,
cool.
what inspires you most, Davin?
That is a good question, Sammy. What inspires me most? I would say that I get really inspired. I get really enthusiastic when I see somebody accomplish something that they didn't think was really possible. So most people don't like change, and most people don't really like being uncomfortable. I mean, I'm in there too, right? Who wants to be uncomfortable? But the only way we grow is when we get outside of our comfort.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I see people, I'll use the two platforms that I shared before, right? In the martial arts world, I see someone who says, I can never kick like you or never kick like somebody else, right? And on day one, they can't. But after some time, they start to develop, and all of a sudden, they have somebody saying that same thing about them. And so to me, that is an amazing feat that they've accomplished something that they didn't really think was possible. On the financial aspect too. Most people know that they should save money. Most people kind of struggle with that, right?
Yep.
Because why? They don't like the word no. They don't like to say the word no to their children. They don't like to say the word no to themselves. So whatever they're making, they spend. But everyone agrees that saving money is an important feat to do. And if I'm working with somebody and I'm coaching them, hey, you should save X amount of dollars right now, they look at me sometimes and say, how could I do that? I say, I don't know. How can you do that? Use your mom's tactic, right? And
Right.
then, we have good discussions. And then in the beginning, sometimes they save just a little bit, not the ideal amount, but they save a little bit. And what we're starting to do is starting to develop a habit which either they didn't have or they weren't strong in before. This example in particular is saving money. And then interestingly, over time, they start building up some nice funds.
It's the
And then,
compound effect.
what?
It's the compound effect.
Yes, that is definitely an effect there. And what happens is over the course of time, as they start getting stronger and stronger, building this good habit, then they look back and they say, "Oh my gosh, look at all that money I got!" And that's a tangible thing that they can be proud of, right? And I remind them that they put in the work. It's not that I did it. I gave them some advice. I gave them some coaching. I kept them accountable, but they're putting in the work. And you know, to me, that's really exciting because they didn't think it was even possible to save money with
Right.
all the bills that they're managing, with all the activities, with everything. They didn't think it was possible. And so I love seeing people say, like, wow, I did it. I didn't even think this was going to be possible, but I did it. Right.
That
And
is
then we
very
get
inspiring.
stronger and stronger. And to me, that's the most rewarding thing that I experience.
I love that. Do you have any favorite quotes that you live by or follow? You're
Oh
like the
boy.
man of wisdom. So
I I I I like quotes a lot. There are many that I probably use. I'll say one of them. So I'll give you a few. One of them that I took probably in, I don't know, maybe in high school even. I always like saying, it doesn't really matter how you start, but rather how you end that truly matters. Right. So when we're trying something new, such as maybe starting a new show online or Facebook, right? Maybe that's uncomfortable, but you start it, and maybe the first show isn't perfect, but each one that you continue gets better and better and better. And so it really doesn't matter how someone starts. What matters is that you do start,
right.
right? And then it matters how you end, which hopefully is a really long time from now. You just keep getting better. So that's a good one. I always like the cliche one, which this one sticks out to me more and more every year in all aspects of my life, which is actions speak louder than words.
Oh,
You
so
know,
true.
I know it's kind of an annoying one to even hear,
Yep.
but it's just one of the most truest statements I've ever
It
seen.
works in every setting. It works in business, it works in family life, it works in relationships, it works in accountability, it works everywhere. That's a
It,
really great quote.
it's one of the truest, one of the oldest. I really observe what people do rather than just what they say. Uh,
Mhm.
again, a lot of aspects of life, personal and professional. Call me if you need anything. And call that person when you need to move. We'll see if they show up. If it's within their ability. So that's a big one. I like the one where I've been to sports and then into building business also. So I like fall down 7 times, rise again. And then that's actually a proverb, and symbolic. The number 7 is actually symbolic in the Bible. It's the number of completion. So it's not saying only fall down 7 times and get up again, but it's as many times as you fall, just keep getting back up. At least that's how I kind of interpret that.
Absolutely.
And again, in life, and especially in this season that we're in now, I feel like that one is ringing true a lot these days.
Yeah, I think so. I love the one that you just said about falling down and rising back up again. It like brings me back to a lot of experiences growing up, just like trying out different things and failing at it, and you're failing forward and you're
Love
getting
that.
somewhere. I always feel like I remember when I was younger, I was applying for this award, and part of the award was you had to make a speech on what your challenges were. And I had the hardest time coming up with challenges. I remember my mom saying to me, well, because you don't look at them as challenges, because you just keep going. And that is a really great way to live your life. And I encourage everyone to just seek every opportunity to make mistakes and use them to your advantage, because it brings you to such a better place.
Agreed. I love that. And I'm going to share another quote then with you that helped me. And I love that you said fail forward. That is such an important concept. That's, I guess, a quote in itself. But, those 2 words, if anybody's listening to that, I would encourage you to write that one down. Fail forward, start something new, try something new, get out of your fail forward. You're not going to be perfect. We want to be. It just doesn't happen that way. And I'll tell you one thing where I fail. Tammy brought up Toastmasters before, right? You were bringing that up before. And I am involved in Toastmasters for a number of years. I do the competitions. I like competition. And so I did one of the competitions. I forget what level I was in, but it was when I was doing my speech in front of, I don't know, maybe like 200 people or so, like that. And I don't know if it was area or I forget how that stuff works.
Sounds like the area.
Area or division, I don't know what it is. But I completely blanked out on my speech after like the first 5 seconds. I totally forgot what I was saying.
I've
And
been there.
I flopped. And I kind of rebounded at some point, but I went and got my notes because I totally didn't know what I was doing. And it was like a horrible experience. And Toastmasters is such a nice group where they come up after, oh, you did a really good job, blah, blah, blah. Right? I knew the truth. I did not do a good job. I came around at the end, but it sucked. It sucked. Right. And so I was determined, though, to come back to life and do better next time. And the following year, I entered that competition again. And I got to quote a friend of mine here. I don't know if he's watching. I told him to pop on, but he's a pretty busy guy. Maybe he'll catch the replay. But a friend of mine, I told him about this experience. He goes, dude, you're a pretty good speaker. Like, what are you doing? I don't know. I had my whole thing memorized. Like, I was ready, and I just totally blanked out. He goes, well, maybe don't memorize it. Like, know it and speak it. And that changed a lot for me. And I spoke to a number of different people, kind of got similar advice. But the phrase that he gave me, Sammy, you'll appreciate this one, is he goes, dude, just have fun.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, that little thing, just have fun, that totally changed things for me. The next time I didn't bring any notes. I went, I kind of knew the area I was going to go in. And I had a couple of bullet points in my head. I knew where I was starting. I knew where I was ending, couple of bullet points, and I was just going to have fun. And that was my entire goal, to get from start to finish, because I didn't do that the previous year. not all in one piece, at least. To get from start to finish, to make sure that I had fun. And I always feel this way. If I'm having fun, other people are probably having fun too. And that was a very successful one, I would say.
I
So
love
that changed things a lot. Just have fun.
I think that that's so important. And, what made you join Toastmasters? My reason for joining was because I wasn't quick at thinking on my feet. And here I am on a live video thinking on my feet most of the time with, listening to what people are saying and then responding and trying not to have something already in my head of what I want to say, because I want to actively listen to what you're saying and react to it. So my biggest thing was impromptu speaking on my feet. And I've gotten a whole lot better at it than I was 10 years ago when I first started. What about you? What did you join for?
So interesting. So most people join Toastmasters because they are fearful of public speaking or thinking on their feet, right? I actually didn't really have that fear. I joined from a networking perspective. I thought that it was going to be a good, maybe I could meet. I joined at 24 when I first started, or 24 or 25 when I was first entering the financial services industry, and I didn't have anybody to really speak to. So I went there and I said, well, maybe I'll find some people who will talk to me, and meet with me professionally, and which didn't happen at all. And I stuck with it. Because I liked the program. And what I don't think it just works on people developing public speaking. I think it works on communication skills. And for guys, whoever's listening, all the males out there, our communication skills, one of the biggest skills we need to work on, I definitely need to work on, is listening, right? So it's not just speaking. I don't care if you're a great speaker. Can you listen? That's a huge factor, right? Most people listen to just respond rather than actually listen to understand. And so one of the things that we do within Toastmasters, as Sammy knows, is we give positive critique when we listen to people speak. And that's been really, really helpful. And I've noticed that some people want to critique others, and they don't always do that in the most acceptable manner, right? It almost feels like they're getting attacked. I felt that way before. I'm sure, everyone has felt that at some point. But if you really hear someone give you some positive critiquing, hey, listen, you did a pretty good job. You might want to try talking a little louder. You might want to try making better. But overall, really good. I just think that one little tweak might help. When somebody says it in that tone versus, oh, you didn't even look at me. It's totally different, right? Like it felt differently.
It doesn't feel good.
Correct. So I joined it from a networking perspective. Didn't pan out that way. I stayed with it because I believe that communication is something that we should all be working on continuously. I don't think that it is really taught in schools, right? We don't talk about communication, but I think it's a never-ending journey, kind of like, fitness or finances. Like it's a never-ending journey. We always want to be improving in those areas. That's why I stuck with it.
You need it more than just for work. You need it for everything.
Correct. It's your whole life. I mean, it's professional and personal. And even yourself. I don't know about anybody else. I'll openly admit this. Like I talk to myself. Like there's communication that
Yes,
happens
there is.
there
Positive talking to yourself is so important.
every
Not
day.
automatically, saying something negative, thinking
Correct.
positively.
Yeah, when people wake up and look in the mirror, are you saying, "Oh, how am I going to get through this day?" Or, "Hey, I'm going to crush
Exactly. Yeah. Start it with a
it."
positive thought.
Got
So
to do it.
tell our audience what you're up to because you're into a whole lot of things, but I think you have something important that you want to talk about.
So thank you. I would like to highlight something. As Sammy said, kind of in the beginning, and maybe many of you, always looking at ways to help people, whether it's through the platforms that I have or supporting something in another manner. Right now, for the month of October, which will probably extend a little bit, I have a program called Socktober. I'm not the originator of that name. I wish I was. I really liked it when I heard it. And what Socktober is we're collecting socks to be donated for people in need. Probably don't think about this too often, but around the holidays, people do coat drives. They give old clothes, right? They do that. But one of the most forgotten items happens to be socks. And so what we've done is, I've partnered with um, my martial arts program, and we did a drive to collect socks last year. We did 185 pairs of socks. The previous year we did about 175, so pretty good. My goal this year was 200, and I think we might be there already. I didn't do a final count yet today. We'll have one of the students do it. But I think we're there. But if anybody wants to help contribute to that, they could donate one pair of socks. I think anybody can do that. And so that's another reason I like that because we're not asking for money. We're not asking, and there's nothing wrong with that. But not everybody has a check that they can stroke all the time. One pair of socks is pretty cheap. You might have it lying around in your home. A new pair of socks, by the way. So if anybody wants, they could just email me. I'll tell you where to drop it off. Right in I guess that's Yorktown Stormers area right there. We have a bin. You could just drop it off and we would really appreciate your support if you could do that.
That's awesome. So everyone donate your socks. Reach out to Davin about that.
New socks, right? Not old socks.
New socks. Brand new. Make them fancy. Get the wool ones.
And think about it. When you get a new pair of socks and put a new pair of socks on, it feels good, right? So we want to pass that on to people who may not even have socks in all reality. And we don't think of that. I had not thought about that, in the past years till we started this drive. And I never thought about that because I've always had socks. And, once in a while I do get a new pair of socks, but, some people don't have any or maybe they only have a couple pairs. And so this is a way to help.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for doing that. How can people connect with you if they're interested in talking with you more?
So it looks like you got my email scrolling down below. That's an easy way that you guys can contact me. Probably the easiest. If anybody wants to look me up, you can probably just Google my name. There's not that many people who have my name, my first name specifically, and so I'll probably pop up from there. I think I have a YouTube channel I do, but that I don't promote too much. So there's a couple of speeches in there. I think for Toastmasters as well from MasterNet as well. So probably just Google my name and or email me here, and you guys reach out to me with anything you need.
That's fabulous. All right. Well, thank you, Davin, for joining us. It was awesome to hang out with you. You are just one of the most inspiring people that I know, and I appreciate your time, and thank you for coming.
I appreciate the invite. It's such an honor. If anybody has the opportunity to meet Sammy or be around her, you cannot help but smile. She's always bringing sunshine. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.